Welcome to Drift into Dreaming, the podcast where we unwind, relax, and drift gently into sleep. Welcome, dear dreamer. I am your host, Sofia. I'm so grateful you've joined us tonight. Together, we'll take a gentle journey to Kyoto, the cultural heart of Japan, during the soft and blossoming days of spring. In this story, we'll follow a day in the life of Clara, a young trainee geisha known as a Maiko. Her world is filled with quiet traditions, graceful rituals, and the beauty of a slower, more mindful pace of life. Before we begin, let's prepare ourselves for rest. Take a deep, slow breath in, letting your lungs fill with calm. Now exhale even more slowly, releasing all the tension you've been carrying through the day. With every breath, imagine your stress melting away, drifting off into the stillness of the night. Inhale once more deeply and gently, and exhale slower than before, each breath carrying you into a place of comfort and peace. Now that your body is lighter and your mind is calm, let us begin our journey with Clara. As we drift into Kyoto, Japan, this is where our story unfolds. The soft warmth of the morning sun gently filters through the delicate paper screens of the okiya, the traditional house where geisha live and train. The golden light glows softly, casting a serene, peaceful atmosphere across the quiet rooms. Within these walls live graceful geisha, professional entertainers who dedicate their lives to art, music, and tradition. Alongside them are the trainees, known as Maiko, who spend years learning this refined path. In one quiet room, still wrapped in the tender embrace of sleep, rests a young woman named Clara. She is 20 years old, and she is a Maiko, a trainee geisha. Becoming a full geisha is a long journey, often taking 5 years of devotion and learning. Clara is close now. In less than a year, she will complete her training, ready to step fully into the elegant life she has been preparing for. This timeless tradition continues to live on through women like Clara, even in today's modern world. She lies peacefully on her side, resting on the firm surface of a traditional Japanese futon. Her shoulders rise and fall in a calm rhythm as she breathes deeply in her sleep. The room around her is beautifully simple, designed with quiet elegance. The floor is covered with soft tatami mats, woven from natural straw, their gentle wheat-colored tones adding warmth to the space. From somewhere nearby, the faint aroma of freshly cooked rice drifts into the air. It carries a sweetness, almost floral, comforting in its simplicity. Outside, a small bird sings softly, its gentle chirps blending with the stillness of morning. Soon, Clara's breathing changes ever so slightly. She stirs, slowly awakening from her slumber. Stretching her legs beneath the sheets, her toes wiggle gently, feeling the soft fabric around them. She brings her hands to her face, brushing the sleep from her eyes. With a graceful ease, she sits up and slides aside the bedding, standing quietly on the tatami floor. Moving to a nearby basin, she splashes cool water over her face. It trickles across her cheeks and eyes like a refreshing waterfall, awakening her senses. Clara then dresses with care, every motion deliberate and calm. She slips into a gray-blue kimono, its fabric flowing gently over her arms. She adjusts the wide sleeves and ties the sash around her waist with practiced elegance. When she is ready, Clara makes her way downstairs. The tatami mats feel soft and springy beneath her feet, while the morning light grows stronger, filling the hall with a golden glow. Pausing for a moment, she glances out toward the courtyard at the heart of the okiya. Like a peaceful garden framed by the house itself, the courtyard gleams with polished flagstones shining in the daylight. As she continues downward, the scent of rice becomes richer, and a soft hum of conversation fills the air. Clara walks with her back straight, her steps slow and deliberate, every movement touched with grace. Finally, she enters the dining room where the gentle energy of morning gathers. The window shades are open, allowing streams of golden morning light to pour gently into the room. The floor, the same creamy tone as the shades, glows softly beneath the sunlight. A long, low table has been set, and several Maiko kneel gracefully beside it, their posture calm and elegant. In the quiet of the room, a faint ticking can be heard. A nearby clock marking the gentle passage of time. It is 9:30 in the morning. Clara enters with quiet composure. She bows politely to her fellow Maiko before taking her place at the table. Almost at once, a young girl appears, carrying a tray prepared for each of them. She sets down Clara's tray with care. It is a work of beauty, a rectangular piece of polished red lacquered wood. Resting upon it are two rounded bowls with smooth black lids, their edges painted with the thinnest touch of red. Each lid is topped with a small circular handle, shining softly in the light. Beside them sits a rectangular black plate holding a piece of golden brown grilled mackerel. The fish glistens with a light glaze of teriyaki, sprinkled with black and white sesame seeds, arranged with quiet precision. Next to it lies a small dish of steamed vegetables, their colors gentle and earthy, and a tall, narrow cup of warm tea, its rising steam carrying a soothing fragrance. Clara bows her head in gratitude to the girl before delicately lifting the first lacquered lid between her fingers. A soft cloud of steam curls upward, drifting into the cool morning air. Beneath it lies a simple yet comforting mound of fluffy white rice, carrying a light floral fragrance. She lifts the second lid, revealing a clear miso soup. Inside, cubes of tender tofu and rings of fresh spring onion float quietly on the surface. With a porcelain spoon, Clara stirs the broth, watching as the gentle motion brings the sediment from the bottom, turning the soup from clear to softly opaque. Its warm, savory aroma blends with the smoky scent of the grilled fish, filling the room with comfort. She eats slowly, with grace and mindfulness, savoring each bite of her morning meal. Every taste carries a sense of peace and presence. When she has finished, Clara rises gracefully from the floor. At the entrance of the okiya, she slips her feet into a pair of wooden sandals, their soft clack echoing against the polished floor. Picking up a small, neatly prepared bag that matches her kimono, she prepares to step out into the day. Clara slides the door open and steps out onto the quiet streets of Kyoto. For a brief moment, her gaze drifts toward the sign of the okiya, painted neatly on a swath of cotton fabric that hangs above the entrance like a gentle flag. With a calm breath, she turns and begins her walk. The narrow road beneath her feet is paved with smooth gray stone, each slab cool and worn from centuries of footsteps. On both sides, low wooden buildings rise with quiet dignity, their tiled roofs shimmering like the scales of a fish beneath the morning sun. The walls are made of warm brown wood, carrying the softness of age. Some windows are shaded with delicate bamboo blinds, woven so finely that they sway gently in the breeze. Others are framed by sliding doors of glass or thin wood, each panel telling its own quiet story. The entire street carries a sense of quiet magic. Above, the sky is a clear, brilliant blue, and the sun shines warmly, bathing Kyoto in golden light. Beyond the rooftops, the mountains rise in a protective circle, their slopes soft against the horizon. The air is crisp, carrying with it the faint sweetness of flowers. From every direction, cherry blossoms bloom in soft clusters of pink, their petals dancing gently with the wind. As Clara walks, some passers-by glance at her with admiration. Her every step seems touched by grace, her movements flowing like a slow, deliberate dance. Even the rhythmic clack of her wooden sandals against the stone seems to belong to the harmony of the morning. Before long, Clara arrives at another building, simple and low, yet filled with purpose. Stepping out of her sandals, she enters the space. This is a school for Maiko, a place where discipline and tradition are passed down with care. Inside, she moves into a large square room. Like the Okia, its floor is covered with woven tatami mats, and the soft light filters through paper screens. The room is nearly empty of furniture, its simplicity designed for practice and learning. Several other Maiko are already seated in poised stillness, waiting with quiet anticipation for the lesson to begin. Clara joins them, her posture calm and steady, her spirit centered in the moment. Then the sliding door opens. A graceful older woman enters, dressed in a crisp black kimono. Her presence carries an aura of wisdom and elegance. At once, the Maiko straighten, their attention sharpening, their respect silent but absolute. The teacher, graceful yet commanding, asks the students to rise. It is time for their first task of the day, the dance lesson. Her eyes are sharp, her movements precise, as she carefully corrects each delicate turn of the wrist, every subtle tilt of the chin. Though strict, her voice carries both passion and pride, for she is not only preserving an ancient art, but also passing it forward with devotion. It takes 5 years of training for a Maiko to finally blossom into a geisha, and this teacher gives her very best to guide each student along the path. The young women move together with astonishing elegance. Every gesture, though carefully practiced, appears natural and effortless. Their grace fills the room, creating a rhythm that is almost hypnotic. A dance not only of the body, but of spirit and tradition. The stillness, the precision, the harmony. It all weaves a sense of calm that seems to linger in the air. After several hours, the lesson draws to an end. The Maiko bow deeply, their respect silent yet profound, as the teacher glides out of the room with quiet dignity. Clara smooths the folds of her kimono, gathers her small bag, and steps once more into the streets of Kyoto. The city is now alive with energy. People move busily around her, heading to their midday meals. With careful, deliberate steps, Clara turns down a narrow side alley. Here, the air is filled with warmth. The sound of pots bubbling, the crackle of cooking, the laughter and chatter of lunchtime. The scents of rich soups and wood smoke drift on the breeze, carrying comfort through the winding lane. She slips into a little cafe, modest and softly lit. The air inside is filled with the savory aroma of noodles, and Clara chooses a seat on a wooden bench. She gently arranges her kimono across her knees, sitting with serene patience as she waits for her meal. Soon, a steaming bowl is placed before her, a wide-rimmed dish filled with ramen. The broth glistens under the soft light of the cafe, clear and rich in color. Beneath the surface lies a delicate tangle of noodles, leafy greens, and finely sliced vegetables. Resting on top is a perfectly halved soft-boiled egg, its golden yolk glowing warmly as it melts slightly into the broth. Clara lifts the spoon and tastes the broth, savoring its warmth. Then, with practiced elegance, she takes up the chopsticks and begins to eat. Every movement is graceful, every gesture calm. Even here, in this quiet cafe, her training as a Maiko is evident. Serenity is woven into everything she does. When her meal is finished, Clara leaves with the same quiet composure and returns to the school. This time, she enters a smaller room. She kneels beside her fellow Maiko, the woven mats beneath her soft and grounding. The air here carries a grassy scent, fresh and gentle, preparing them for the next lesson of the day. Before long, a new teacher enters the room, her presence calm and refined. She wears a dark gray kimono and carries a tray with delicate china bowls, a small pot, a bamboo whisk, and a graceful ladle. With gentle movements, she guides the students toward a sunken square in the floor. At its center rests a cast iron urn, round and sturdy, holding hot water. She removes the lid, and a soft plume of steam drifts upward, curling lazily into the air. From the small pot, she lifts the lid to reveal a bright green powder, matcha tea, the source of the fresh, grassy scent that lingers throughout the room. Carefully, she scoops a small portion into a bowl, then ladles hot water over it. The stream of water flows smoothly, swirling as it falls. She picks up the bamboo whisk and begins to stir, her movements graceful and steady. With care, she whisks the tea into a smooth, frothy drink, the surface shimmering softly in the light. The Maiko, including Clara, watch attentively before taking their places to practice. Soon the room is filled with the quiet rhythm of many delicate hands, each movement slow, deliberate, and respectful. The fragrance of matcha fills the air, earthy and calming, as the young women perform every step of the ancient tea ceremony. The atmosphere is serene, timeless, gentle, and unhurried. And then, just as quietly as it began, the lesson comes to an end. Clara rises, bows with respect, and steps back into the streets of Kyoto. The light has softened, turning golden as the day gently fades into late afternoon. A coolness lingers in the air, a reminder that evening is drawing near. When Clara returns to the Okia, she walks upstairs to her room for a short rest. She sets down her small bag with care and draws back the blanket on her futon. Climbing into bed, she lets the soft light filtering through the paper screens ease her into slumber. Slowly, Clara drifts into sleep, her breathing gentle, her spirit at peace. Time passes, and the dim glow of early evening begins to fill the room. Clara stirs lightly, rolling onto her side before stretching and rising once more. She rinses her face with cool water, refreshing herself, and dresses in a plain, light cotton kimono. Heading downstairs, she moves to a small table where a tray awaits. Upon it sits a simple bowl of clear broth. Clara lifts the bowl to her lips, drinking slowly and mindfully. This light broth will be the last thing she eats until she returns home again. That evening, once Clara finishes her simple meal, she quietly returns upstairs to her room. The space is calm, filled with the gentle scent of tatami mats and the soft hush of night settling outside. Clara kneels gracefully before her dressing table. From beneath it, she pulls out a wooden box, the sound of it sliding across the woven floor, a soft, scratchy whisper in the silence. Opening the lid, she carefully removes her tools, a small mirror with a stand, a round handheld mirror, and places them neatly before her. She sets the standing mirror on the table, angling it with care. One by one, she lifts out her things: a shallow white tub of pressed face powder, another slightly thicker tub, and two small palettes of color, one a bright, delicate pink, the other a rich red. She arranges slender brushes, one fluffier brush, a powder puff, a small shallow bowl, a wax stick wrapped in crinkling paper, and a dark pencil for lining the eyes. There is also mascara and a broad flat brush that resembles a tiny spatula. Clara lifts the shallow bowl in her hands and rises from the floor. She fills it with cool, clear water, the sound of it flowing softly, then carries it back to her place with careful steps. Kneeling once more, she sets the bowl beside the flat brush. Her first step is to unwrap the wax stick. The paper makes a delicate crinkling sound as it opens. This is binsuke wax, made from natural oils and special ingredients used for preparing both the face and the hair. Clara pinches off a small piece of the wax, warming it gently between her palms. The heat of her skin softens it into a smooth, glistening oil. A faint scent rises, subtly sweet, with a touch of citrus. With slow, graceful movements, she smooths the oil across her face and neck in a thin, protective layer. She prepares another small piece, softens it with care, and this time rubs it gently into the exposed skin of her upper back and chest. Her hands move with ritual and intention, each touch steady and precise. This is more than makeup. It is an art, a practice of discipline and devotion. Next, she opens the lid of the shallow white palette. Inside lies a pressed powder of brilliant white, smooth and luminous, like pure moonlight captured in solid form. Clara picks up the flat brush, dipping it lightly into the cool water of the bowl. She swirls the bristles gently, then brushes them against the rim to release the excess. The brush glistens, ready for the next delicate step. Clara dips the wide, flat brush into the white palette. The powder softens instantly with the water, becoming a smooth, silky paste. Holding the brush in one hand, she sits tall before the standing mirror. In her other hand, she lifts the smaller handheld mirror, angling it just so, allowing her to see the delicate curve of her neck reflected in the glass. With one elegant stroke, Clara presses the brush to the nape of her neck, painting a pale arc across her skin. A few more graceful sweeps, and the arc becomes a soft, flowing W, leaving a small shape of bare skin at the back of her neck. It is a traditional pattern, carefully made, an art in itself. She continues with long, even motions, painting her back, her neck, and her chest. The white paste spreads smoothly across her skin, cool to the touch, yet soothing and gentle. Clara lifts the powder puff and taps it softly against the painted areas. The puff absorbs the moisture, leaving behind a flawless surface, her skin now transformed into a powdery porcelain white. Taking up the brush again, she moves carefully along her jawline, her cheeks, the bridge of her nose, her eyelids, and her forehead. Each motion is deliberate, unhurried, like the rhythm of a calming ritual. With the puff, she pats each section dry, and soon her entire face is cloaked in the luminous white makeup, smooth and serene. Next, she opens the small pink palette and, with the fluffy brush, dabs a soft blush onto her cheeks and eyelids. She blends it gently, leaving only a delicate bloom of color, subtle and natural. Then she lifts the second tub, a finer white powder, and pats it over the pink, softening and sealing it with care. Taking a smaller brush, Clara dips it into the pink again, but this time wets it lightly. The shade deepens, becoming stronger, almost red. With slow precision, she paints her eyebrows in gentle strokes, giving them a graceful shape. She adds the same shade just beneath her eyes, along the lower lid, the color bringing warmth to the white canvas of her skin. Finally, she reaches for the dark pencil and begins to shape and deepen her eyebrows further. Every movement calm, exact, and filled with purpose. Clara sweeps a line of black liquid eyeliner across her upper eyelids in a single graceful motion. The effect is soft, yet striking. She adds a feather-light layer of mascara, and suddenly her eyes shimmer like radiant jewels in the lamplight. With slow care, she lifts her final brush, wets it, and circles it gently against the small red palette. Then, with absolute precision, she guides the brush to her lips, painting them in a brilliant shade of cherry red. The color blooms against the white of her makeup like a vivid rosebud resting on freshly fallen snow. Her transformation is complete. Clara is no longer simply a young woman preparing for the evening. She has become a Maiko, embodying both beauty and tradition. She places her brushes carefully into the bowl of cold water to soak. Then she rises, smooth and composed, and moves to open the door. Moments later, a neatly dressed attendant arrives, carrying what appears to be a stack of folded silk. He sets it down gently, and Clara stands with her arms slightly outstretched. With quiet skill, he dresses her in a pale peach kimono adorned with an elegant floral collar and delicate golden embroidery that trails upward from her feet. The process feels almost like a dance, each fold, each adjustment precise and fluid. He aligns the hem, the sleeves, and the collar until the kimono rests perfectly upon her. Layer after layer of silk ripples and shimmers like flowing water. To complete the look, he fastens a wide yellow obi around her waist, tying it into an enormous bow at her back. Though the fabric is heavy and stiff, he manages it as though it were the lightest paper. At last, he pins a few flower ornaments into her hair, their pale hues echoing the soft peach of her kimono. With a respectful nod, he leaves as quietly as he arrived. Clara turns toward the mirror. For a moment, she takes in her reflection and breathes deeply, a sense of calm pride filling her chest. She is ready for the night ahead. Her steps are dainty, her movements smooth, almost gliding, as she descends the staircase and crosses the quiet halls of the Oya. Near the front door, she pauses before a pair of elegant shoes. They are okobo, wooden sandals that resemble tall flip-flops raised on platforms nearly 5 inches high. The wooden base slopes gently from the toes to the center of the foot. Clara slips her feet into them. Instantly, she appears taller, her figure even more graceful and commanding, despite the weight of the kimono and the height of the sandals. She moves with effortless elegance, as though she is floating. Clara steps out into the quiet street, her movements as light and graceful as a drifting cloud. One of her fellow Maiko joins her, and together they walk side by side. With every step Clara takes, there is a gentle tinkling sound, tiny bells hidden within the hollow soles of her okobo sandals. The soft chime blends with the evening air, creating a rhythm that feels almost like music. Kyoto is wrapped in the calm of dusk. The setting sun paints the sky with soft strokes of orange, gold, and pink, casting a warm glow across the smooth flagstones beneath their feet. The colors shimmer against the polished windows of the houses they pass, turning the streets into a canvas of quiet beauty. Paper lanterns begin to glow one by one, their gentle light flickering to life. The pearly radiance spills across the streets, wrapping everything in a dreamlike calm. A few tourists linger nearby, pausing to admire the elegance of the Maiko. Some lift their phones to capture a photo, while others whisper in hushed tones. Clara and her companions simply bow their heads with quiet grace and continue onward, their composure unbroken, their presence serene. The streets are lined with noodle shops, cozy restaurants, and charming clothing stores, but the young women pass by without stopping. Their path is set, their steps steady and sure. Soon they arrive before a splendid tea house. The building is long and low, its walls formed from fine vertical wooden slats, stained so dark they appear nearly black. Above, the roof curves with elegance, its tiles dark and smooth. Between the wooden panels and the roof, a band of plaster has been painted in a bold, radiant red, as vivid as the red upon Clara's lips. This is one of Kyoto's historic tea houses, a place steeped in beauty and tradition. Clara and her fellow Maiko glide toward the entrance gate. A geisha stands waiting and welcomes them warmly, leading them inside. They step into a tranquil room where the floor is lined with pale cream tatami mats, each bordered with black. At one end, a sliding door made of tiny paper rectangles glows softly from the light behind it, casting a peaceful radiance into the space. At the other end, 3 low wooden tables rest on carved legs, each place set with a hand-embroidered cushion for guests to sit upon. The air carries a delicate fragrance, a blend of fresh green tea and polished wood. A scent that seems to soothe the mind the moment it's breathed in. Clara removes her shoes before stepping into the quiet room, moving gracefully toward the clear space on the floor. She lowers herself onto her knees beside another Maiko dressed in a pale blue kimono who carries a slender instrument box. Together, they wait in calm silence, poised and patient. The geisha watches over them gently, ready to guide their training throughout the night. One by one, the guests begin to arrive. Whatever stress or urgency they carried with them seems to dissolve at the threshold. As they step into the room, a sense of peace washes over them. Their expressions soften into gentle smiles, and their bodies relax as they settle onto the embroidered cushions. When the room is full, each guest is served a delicate drink in dainty cups. The second Maiko slowly opens her instrument case, unclasping the latches with care. Inside rests a traditional shamisen, a three-stringed instrument with a small square body and a long, elegant neck, not unlike a guitar. She lifts it with reverence and begins to tune it, the quiet notes rippling through the still air. Clara rises to her feet. Instantly, the room falls silent, all eyes turning toward her. The soft strum of the shamisen begins, plucked by a triangular wooden tool. Its sound is both delicate and rich, filling the space with a graceful rhythm. Clara moves with it. She performs the dance she has been practicing, and under the dim golden light of the tea house, the dance seems to breathe with life. Her silk kimono flutters and sways with every movement. She is light as air, every gesture elegant, every step flowing like water. For the rest of the evening, Clara performs, sometimes gliding across the room in dance, sometimes pausing to speak softly with the guests or refill their cups with care. The atmosphere is warm and comforting, as if the night itself is holding everyone in its gentle embrace. Eventually, the evening draws to a close. One by one, the guests rise, stretching quietly. Before slipping away into the night, each leaves with a calm, contented smile. When the last guest has departed, Clara and her fellow Maiko prepare to go as well. They stand with graceful composure and bow deeply to the Geisha, honoring her guidance. They slip their feet into their tall okobo shoes and bow once again before leaving. Clara and the other Maiko step gracefully out of the tea house and onto the quiet streets. It is close to midnight now. The city is wrapped in an inky darkness, punctuated only by glowing white street lamps and the soft light of restaurant and bar signs. With each step, the tiny bells hidden inside their wooden shoes tinkle gently, their sound mingling with the distant hum of the city at night. People laugh softly as they head home. Others linger to share late-night meals, and the faint aroma of cooking drifts through the cool air. Before long, Clara and her companion arrive back at the Okeya. She slips off her shoes at the entrance and steps inside. Moving upstairs, she heads straight to her bathroom, where a warm tub of soapy water is waiting. She takes a small bowl, scoops some of the water, and wets a soft cotton towel. Slowly, she begins to wipe away the layers of makeup, each gentle touch returning her face to its natural calm. Once she has finished removing her makeup and bathing, Clara prepares herself for sleep. She peels back the sheets and slips into bed, the cool cotton brushing softly against her arms. Resting her head upon the pillow, she lets her body sink into the soothing embrace of the mattress. Her eyelids grow heavy, and she allows them to close. It has been a long, rewarding day, with her last thoughts lingering on the taste of tea, the scent of miso soup, and the quiet grace of dance. Clara surrenders to her tiredness and drifts peacefully into a deep, restful sleep. Thank you for joining this journey, dear dreamer. May your own night be filled with calm, gentle rest and the sweetest of dreams. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soothing bedtime tales. Good night.